What's up, everybody? Couch Mouse here, coming at you with a brand new Overwatch video. And in this video, we're going to be breaking down the 5 things that people are still messing up in 2021 in Overwatch. These are 5 huge things that pretty much are still affecting people, still making people lose games, still preventing people from improving. So you just gotta fix these because it could be the one thing that is preventing you from getting to Masters and Grandmaster. So let's break it all down, but go to the GameLeap website in the links down below for high quality in-depth guides over every single hero in the entire game, including VOD review breakdowns and much more. Go check it out right now in the links down below. But without further ado, let's jump into the video. Now, this is the #1 micro thing that people just do pretty much in every single game. You've done it. People you're playing with have done it, and way too many people have been losing games because of it, and it's not swapping off because you got your ultimate. How many times have you been playing in your games and you're playing a character that maybe it's not your main, it's just a character that you're filling to, or a character you're just playing in the moment, but you realize that because of the enemy team, because of their picks, because they have counters to you, whatever the reason is, you want to swap off. And you start to get that feeling more and more, and you're like, I need to swap off, I need to swap off. But, you know, you're 70%. You almost got your ultimate. So you're like, all right. I'll stay as this character. I'll go out. I'll go try to find this ultimate. You go out, you get your ultimate, but before you even use it, you die again. You're like, oh, well, I can't swap off now because I have my ultimate. I'm going to go use it. You go out, you try to use your ultimate, and you use it and instantly die. Well, guess what? You lost 3 fights, and you never swapped off your character, and you probably lost the entire game because you never went to a character that made more sense in this situation. Now, okay, I'm not saying that you need to swap off every single time, especially if you have a really powerful ultimate. You know, you're Zarya, you have a grab, or you're Hanzo, and you are the combo with a grab, or you're Sombra with an EMP. There are many ultimates that are worth sticking with, right? But you need to quickly identify, hey, it's not worth me staying. In fact, it's far better to swap to a better character and then get value automatically, not just depend on this ult to get value, and then I can start building that character's ultimate. That is almost always gonna be better, except for those very specific situations where your ultimate will be team fight winning. Essentially what this is the sunk cost fallacy. Obviously, you can't swap off a character because you already sunk in the cost of playing that character till you have 70% ult. If you swap off, you're wasting that 70%, which is the cost you've already spent, hence the sunk cost fallacy. Instead of identifying, hey, I got an ultimate, or hey, I'm close to an ultimate, what do I need in this team fight, what character should I play, you're basically taking that invested time already, and that ultimate you already gained, and applying that or using that as a reason to not swap off. That same thing happens on freaking stocks. The same thing happens in pretty much everything, where people assume the cost you already sunk means that it has to work or it's a good idea, which is just not always true. Now, the next big problem that mistake that a lot of people are still making in 2021, and it's caring way too much about the meta. So the thing that you need to understand is meta means most effective tactics available, but typically meta is derived from the highest play. The highest form of play in a game is where the meta comes from, and for Overwatch, that would be Overwatch League, the pro meta. But the thing is, the highest ranks of ranked play almost never reflect what the pro meta provides. Now, the reason for this is the coordination, the synergy, and everything else in the pro meta will not be able to be copied in the rank meta. So there's characters that you can get more value with on an individual basis without those synergies required. Basically, imagine a situation where there's McCree, right? But in a pro meta, he's gonna get died by Winston, Genji, and D.Va. This is not real, by the way. This is just hypothetical. And he's just gonna get shit on in every single pro game. But in a hypothetical rank scenario, you're never gonna get that level of synergy, so McCree can work just fine. That is exactly what happens between not just pro to ranked, but also high ranked to low ranked as the skill level drops off between characters. For instance, a character like Widowmaker that is absolutely just overpowered if you put her in the right hands, but in the wrong hands, she is just like the worst character in the game. That means if there's a meta that is dictated by Widow, that meta can't possibly exist in an environment where people cannot play Widow to the level that you need to get value out of her. Now, this was kind of convoluted, and I kind of beat around the bush a little bit, but all of this means that meta doesn't matter where the meta comes from, whether it's Grandmaster or Pro, it will not 100% apply to your rank. If you're in Bronze, if you're in freaking Plat, even if you're in Masters, a lot of time, the meta does not matter at all. And most of the time, Grandmaster is actually very similar because you are just playing what works in that rank. You're not necessarily playing what the pros are playing. In fact, most of the time you're not. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean you shouldn't be learning from the meta, because there is a lot of things to learn from the meta, specifically what characters are really, really strong at the moment. Because if pros are playing them, then obviously they're some of the most powerful characters available. However, it's also important to understand that just because it is played at the highest level doesn't mean it's really good for your rank, but it's something that you should be kind of taking note of through trial and error. On top of that, a lot of the logic that exists at the higher level will still transition to the lower ranks as long as you adjust and use logic based on the situation for said rank. But it's also really careful to not let the opposite happen. For example, let's say the enemy team has like a Far Mercy and you're like, hey, we need a hit scan to deal with this Far Mercy. Can someone play a hit scan? And then someone responds and says, hey, in the Overwatch League, they use Diva to counter. We don't need a hit scan. Well, maybe what they're saying is true, that in Overwatch League, they didn't use a hit scan to counter Far, but that's not taking into consideration the path of least resistance, the nature of rank, the lack of synergy, the inability for people to play around a Far Mercy unless they have just killed that Far Mercy. There's just so many different layers there that you're not taking into account. And the next big problem that a lot of people are still making in Overwatch in 2021 is they are giving either too little or too much respect for opponents. So what I mean by too much respect is you're playing scared, right? You're like, oh, I can't get headshotted by this Widow. I'm gonna freaking never peek her. I'm gonna just wrap around this building. I'm gonna give her absolutely the maximum amount of respect because if I peek out, I'm gonna die. Now, the reason that that's bad is you give that Widow so much credit to her mechanical skill, even if the Widow you're up against is absolute hot garbage and maybe 1 out of 10 shots is gonna hit, but you're giving her value from not doing anything. She doesn't deserve that level of respect because she has not earned it. Now, the flip side is you're giving people too little respect. Well, you're playing loose. You're playing really fast and loose. You're like, hey, the average Diamond Widow can't hit me, so I'm just gonna fly around the map. I'm gonna freaking jump around. I'm not gonna give her any respect at all. And then you get absolutely shit on. It is really important for you to give people the appropriate amount of respect for what you're used to, but adjust that incredibly quickly depending on what they exhibit throughout a match. If you go up against a Widow that you have consistently seen has punished you over and over again for not respecting her, you need to tighten up your play immediately. It is something that you need to fix just basically right away, and it's a level that you just constantly need to adjust depending on the opponents that you meet in any given game. Now, the next big thing that a lot of people do, and I don't blame you for doing this, I used to do this myself, but it's a big problem, and it's having competitive anxiety. Something that happens with a lot of people is they'll climb to whatever rank that they wanted to reach, whether it's Diamond or Masters or even touch Grandmaster, and once they get to that rank, they don't want to lose it so bad that they just will not play on their main anymore. They will never play at that rank. They'll go play on their ults or even their smurfs. They'll slowly grind those up. They'll peter around like 500 to 700 less than their main is, and they'll just keep playing there. And they're like, hey, I'm a Grandmaster, or hey, I'm a Masters player, but they don't play on their mains. They're not going up against Grandmaster players. They're not improving past that. And yeah, sure, you can play games every once in a while and maintain your rank, but you are not going to improve, and really, you're not actually earning that rank if you cannot consistently play there. And I know that competitive anxiety really sucks. Sometimes it's something that you just can't fight. You really want to kind of gatekeep that rank, but you got to understand that just because you're not playing, just because your account still has that rank, doesn't mean that you can play to that level unless you keep grinding, keep playing, and you don't let competitive anxiety win. Now, the last thing that a lot of people aren't doing is they are not watching the right streamers. What do I mean by the right streamers? Well, I mean streamers that play your mains. A lot of times people like to watch Overwatch streamers that play all sorts of different characters, and that's fine, but I would suggest you to put a certain amount of time into watching people that play your mains at a high level. See how they position, what they do, what decisions are they making, what's their level of mechanical skill, and you can slowly learn from stuff like that. It's always possible to find a Grandmaster or a top 500 player that plays the mains that you play, and something that you can learn from every single day. Just put a little bit of time into it, and I promise you, you can definitely improve and learn a thing or two. But if you want me to make a video that breaks down all the top streamers for all different characters, definitely let me know in the comments down below. Smash the like and subscribe, and go to the GameLeap website in the links down below for high quality in-depth guides, VOD reviews, tips, and tricks. We got tons of Overwatch content on the GameLeap website. You just gotta go check it out right now. But thank you so much for coming by. Hope you enjoyed the video. I love your faces, and I'll see you next time.